I am going to break down one single issue that could make or break the performance of your Adobe Commerce or Magento 2 website. Yes, one setting that ironically is found inside store configuration could change how fast your website runs just by turning the setting off or on. We're going to talk about what that setting is and how you should configure it and why you should configure it in this manner. We're going to ask this in a form of a question. So let's take a look at how this question is written. You are training a merchant on the Adobe Commerce admin area and come across the use flat catalog product selection store configuration. Of course, the merchant asks what this should be set to. All right, here's the question. So why do you say it's a bad idea to leave this enabled? So specifically this use flat catalog product selection here. All right, so just to be very clear, I'm talking about this here in store configuration, catalog, use flat category, flat catalog category and product. Bingo, right there, done. That's super easy. That's what we're talking about now. You see here on our SwiftOtter.com website, our backend, and we do have a headless website, by the way, which I'm quite proud of. And but here in the backend, we have this use flat category set to no, which is the correct answer. It should be set to no. So I've thought up 3 different potential reasons as far as why you'd want this to be set to no. And we're going to use this as a jumping off point to understand better how this works. So A, generating these tables requires significant computing power. B, this causes the cache to be frequently flushed, slowing down the website. And C, search is based on these results and Elasticsearch provides better results. What do you think the correct answer to this is? And the question again is, why do you say it's a bad idea to leave this enabled? Well, let's talk about each one of these individually. A, generating these tables requires significant computing power. Did you know that in the Magento Experience League documentation, it literally says, check this out. It's no longer best practice and is recommended. It causes performance degradation. Well, guess what? I just gave you the answer right there. Take a look. Take a look. That is the correct answer. Now, that really doesn't answer what's really going on. So remember that the flat catalog table is built from an index, built by an indexer. So whenever a product changes, it is entered into, you'll notice a _CL table, and that means, I think changelog would be what I would think is an abbreviation. So it's whenever a value in one of those attribute tables changes, like the _ catalog product entity int table changes, a value in there changes, there's actually a trigger to add that product ID into the the whatever's _CL table. And I can't remember that CL table name, but it ends in _CL. So what ultimately happens here is then the indexer goes through and picks up all those tables that have been changed, those rows that have been changed, and it then queues out for update, for example, in this flat indexer. Well, depending on how many that's been changed, there could be a lot of queries that have to be run. Depending on how many attributes there are, the number of website stores and store views, all this then can exponentially increase the amount of work. So if it was just one website, one store view, and you have like 50 attributes, I don't think you'll notice a difference either on or off. But as soon as we start fiddling with some of those numbers and driving up those permutations, that can really start causing some real issues at this point. So what happens is this indexer starts running and it starts processing and it replaces these value rows in the table. Well, if you run the math, there's a lot of performance, CPU horsepower that's required to do this operation. Well, that can start degrading the front end. You see where this is going. So Magento does not recommend that you use it anymore. And that's why I selected A here for this answer. Now, a couple of the other reasons here. Let's take a quick look at these. This causes the cache to be frequently flushed, slowing down the website. It actually doesn't. So the flat indexer would not cause this to be the products to be cache to be destroyed more frequently than other indexers would. If an indexer, for example, the product, the search indexer, the catalog search indexer is triggered via that _CL table, the _CL table, it's going to flush some caches. if the price index changes, it's going to flush these caches. So this is not going to affect caching any more than any other indexers. So that's why B would not be a correct answer. Now, looking at C here, search is based on these tables, and Elasticsearch provides better results. Now, this might be a little tricky, but the reality is that Elasticsearch is not based on these tables, to the best of my knowledge, as far as how it worked previously. I mean, it perhaps was a little bit, but it really, Elasticsearch it does provide better results, but search was never based off of those tables to my knowledge. So as such, it was kind of a trick question, but definitely I would agree that Elasticsearch does do way better than the MySQL search provider that was included in Magento 2 as well. So there is the reasons why I say that A is the correct answer. I guess I have Experience League back me up here, but that is the reason why I select A as the correct answer. And I hope you find this helpful. Now, the one final note here is, what does it take in order to turn this off? And this does need some testing, because there could be some modules, some poorly written modules on your website that actually could be relying on data, and they're not actually on that data in that table, and they're not actually looking at the back end store configuration settings. That's why I say poorly written. I mean, this is like not good stuff if you're operating in that territory. So just be really careful if you have it on and you decide you want to try it off. The other thing is, do this on your staging website. Well, of course you should be doing it on your staging website, but do some A/B tests. What is it like uncached of A with it on, B with it off? Fiddle around with that. And again, uncached is the biggest thing, because when you're going to, again, a category page, and that would actually be an uncached category page, you should, well, obviously if you're using Varnish, which you should be, then it's going to be cached after your second hit, and you won't be able to tell any difference when you turn it on or off. So I hope this was helpful here in talking about flat catalog, and look forward to this next week.